Hi, welcome to the shop. It's now 2023, and I'd like to wish you all a Happy New Year. This is my first video of this year, and we just got through celebrating my birthday in November, Christmas, and New Year's, of course. And lucky for me, I have very nice friends and family that gave me some beautiful gifts for my birthday that I did a video on. And then surprisingly, on Christmas, I received 2 new planes by Veritas. And I'm excited to get them because it almost completes my collection of those miniatures that Veritas made. I find them interesting and well made, and I'm enjoying them. I don't know how useful they are yet, but we're going to try some out today. And I want to talk to you about why they could possibly be useful as well as collectible. Anyway, well, let's get started. And so the 2 planes that I got as gifts are the miniature bench plane, which is a bevel up plane, and the miniature bevel up jack plane. Very close in similarity to the original larger versions. The only thing that is cut out of them is that they do not have the adjustable throat as the larger ones do. Might not be too necessary, and they both have cut. I've tried them both, and I just want to explain a little bit that went into me getting them ready to work. And we'll come in for a close-up, and I've got some other planes back here that I want to show you that I have done similar work with. But you can see that these planes are much smaller than these. And this is actually the smallest Bailey, the number 1. This is a number 2. And so these are fairly small planes that I had used for the same purpose before. But there are distinguishing differences. So let's take a look. The type of work that I use these small planes in are mostly model making. Oftentimes I've made miniatures for other people, including this set of trunks that I made for somebody who had a blanket chest that their great-grandfather had made, and it was falling apart, and I chose to make for her 8 miniatures of the same chest so she could give them to the various people who were in direct lineage of that man. And you can see some of the pictures of that work, and you can see how small some of the pieces are that I had to work with. And when I made those, I used some larger planes because I didn't own these, but these would come in very handy. This is some of the cedar that was left over from that project. I've got some oak here, some maple, some bird's eye maple, some rosewood, and some paddock. So we'll try these planes out on some of these woods and see how they stand up. Let's start with this miniature jack plane. Here's some nice close-ups of it. Here's the handle, or the tote, the front knob. You can see that the throat is not adjustable. And I don't particularly care for this, but that's the way it's made. I don't really like seeing this type of screw on any kind of woodworking tool. But that's just an old preference of mine. You see they used the same thing here, and I would prefer that not be that type of screw. The lever cap comes off easily enough, as you can see here. Fairly lightweight alloy of some sort. And you can see that the iron is a bevel up, as we said, and it's got a NARS styled adjuster here now. When I pull the iron out, which it's not terribly difficult, but if you have fingers that are fairly large, it can be unruly. And here is the NARS adjuster in here, and that just slips out as well and seats itself in this little hollow right here. Getting it back into where it's supposed to be can be a little difficult. I've got this little post up. And what we want to do is to place it gently into that little section there. You see it pivots like any other Norris adjuster. And now, after that, with the bevel up, you sneak your iron in so that it's sitting on that little piece in there. Switch back to a table to get this aligned properly, but now you can see that that little post off of the adjuster is going through the hole, and now you can slip this on to this and bring it up and tighten it a little bit. And I like keeping a thumb on this here as I adjust the iron in and out. Here you can see that the iron is very proud and on an angle, so it needs to be adjusted. So what I do is I keep my thumb here so it doesn't fall apart, lightly loosen this part, and then I can adjust it this way and bring it in and out. But you see how tight it is there for my finger to go in. Tighten this up, then look at the iron again, check for the elevation, which is still a little bit raised. So we want to withdraw the iron some more. And this can be a nitpicky little job, and it's really only due to the size and the type of adjuster. I believe on the other larger versions as well, they have two holes here and here to keep the iron once you've got it adjusted in alignment, and these do not have that on the miniatures. But here we go, and now we can see that the iron is just a little proud of where it should be, and we can take it for a little test run and see how she cuts. So this is a little piece of paddock here and a rough edge here, and so we're going to use the little plane that we just tuned up and everything. And I'm not going to hold it by the knob because that'll block the shaving coming out for you, so I'm going to hold it down here, but I wouldn't normally. And so I'm having to hold it, it's so small, kind of like this, keeping this finger underneath here to keep it square to the board so it doesn't tilt. And we'll see how it does. Well, that was a nice clean shaving, and a nice curl. I don't think you can complain about that, but I think it's working fine on that piece. How about some oak? As well, it's doing a fine job, and that's nice and smooth. It's awkward, it's hard to hold, it works fine. Maybe in some really tight small work I might use it, but otherwise I think it's just sort of a collector, a piece. And it'd be nice if this was a little tighter, this throat, but it doesn't have the adjustable throat. So but it's cute, it's fun, it's nice to have. Let's try the bevel up jack plane. So this is a piece of maple, a little harder than the soft cedar we were using, but not quite as hard as the paddock. But what I would normally use this on this would be this #1, but you see that the #1 has this high angle, and it's really a smoothing plane. So we'll set that aside for now. This is a low angle plane that I use often enough, made by Boaz Zefforts, but it was very pricey, and he I don't know how many he makes today, but it's a really fine functioning plane, and a very super tight mouth on it, and this is the one that I would use normally. But let's try this one here. This is the bevel up jack plane by Veritas. It also does not have the side adjustments to hold the blade straight, so it takes the same sort of touch and go adjustments that you need to do on setting it up, because it has no adjustable throat and those two pieces are not there either. But you can see, here it is, and we'll do a little planing with it and see. And again, I'll keep my fingers out of the way, hopefully, so you can see the shaving coming off. Now that's a nice shaving. It seems to be cutting heavy on the left side, so what I have to do is open it up again and try to adjust over so we can get it doing an even shaving all the way across. That's better. And that was fairly simple to adjust. Still on the left side. So we'll open this up again and just give it a little bit of a twist there. Tighten it back down. We'll see how this does. Nice. Started off heavy on the right side, and now it's giving me a nice even shaving all the way across. So here's a little piece of paddock. We'll see how it does on that. And I think you guys can see how small this is. We'll see how these do on this. Paddock is very funny because the grain is so directional. If you plane it in one direction, it's not going to give you a good shaving. This piece of wood here is just a hair over an 1/8 inch wide, and I think it's working very well with this jack plane. Let's try it with the shorter version and see how that does as well. You know what? That one does, I think, a really good job as well. So I like them both for that wood. This is a piece of the cedar that was left over in the boxes that I made out of the grandfather's chest in the old wood. So this is a 100-year-old dry cedar. And let's try this out on it here and see how it is. Well, that gave me a beautiful shaving. Now, I have to say, with this little one, I'm getting a much better shaving. It was difficult when I was holding it here, but when I hold it here, it really stays nice and flat and gives me a very good shaving. So that's a big difference in being able to hold it here and hold it here. That really helps a lot. And it kind of works rather well. And I have no complaint there. This is silky smooth right now. So in doing little work like that, these can be useful. This is a tiny little piece of rosewood, and this is end grain here. We're going to try out this little one on it and see how it does on this end grain. Now, the curls I'm getting are tiny. I don't even think we can focus on them. But we are getting curls. And it is leaving this with, you can see where it planed down here and not up here. It really is delivering a nice surface. So I think these are handy. You know, they're nicely made. They're nicely machined. I don't have anything bad to say about them. They're not terribly useful unless you're doing miniatures or working with really fine work. You could gang some veneers together and use them to edge them if you wanted to. Softer woods they worked fine on. They even worked on the end grain of the rosewood. So there you have it. I tested it on the cedar, on all of these different types of woods, and they worked fine. They come in these nice little display cases if you want to use them that way. They sit inside like this when it comes, and up top here it has a little instruction booklet about the plane. Very nice presentation, and they work well. They are not the end-all or useful planes. These are much more useful, but if you are doing really fine miniature work, model making, dollhouse furniture, things like that, where you really want the tool to fit the size of the wood that you're using, these are a great accessory. And if you just like collecting planes, they're beautiful to sit on a shelf. So a short little video, but again, I want to express to all of you that I hope you had a safe and well-fed holiday, and that now in the new year you'll start taking care of yourselves even more and seeing to it that maybe we can get together again in 2024. Other than that, Happy New Year. Thanks for joining me in the shop, and please stay safe.